Silver prices may be down, but they are not out. There is still some hope for silver, even though it's fallen below the magical support number. We'll talk about it in this video as we explore. With a market report for today, the silver prices have dropped and gold has gone up. We typically don't like to see that, but silver is essentially reacting mostly as an industrial metal today. We're going to get into that as well, but first let's see exactly what's happening with the metals complex. Gold is up $5.60 as I record this video to $2,177.20. Platinum is not moved at all today, no movement at all in platinum's price, but palladium has dropped $13. Silver, though, has fallen over 1% today. Now, it's not a plunge in the price. I typically look at a pretty dramatic dip at around 2%. I think anything over 2% in one day, we should take note. That's a pretty big move. But this is still notable to a degree. In other words, it's a pretty big drop for today, down 28 cents to $24.45 for the ask price. Remember, I've been saying as we watch these markets move that anything above $24.50, as long as it maintains above that, we likely could see 26. Well, it has not stayed up there long enough, I guess, because it's now dipped below that in the ask price. Ideally, we'd like to see that stick with the bid price. But so that's what has led now to a higher gold to silver ratio. It is dangerously close to that 90-to-1 margin again. 90 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. And so there's the report on the numbers. Now, what's happening here? Well, typically it's moving along with commodities. And copper and nickel are both down slightly. So is uranium. Zinc and lead are up slightly, but it's kind of mixed for most of the commodities, but essentially it kind of does watch that, but crude oil is also down. So I think largely we're seeing silver react as a commodity like other commodities, and they're being hit. They're being hit because of the value or the strength of this. The dollar strength is something we should also look at here. And so we kind of look and see what the dollar is doing. It's up today, and it's up. And so gold is essentially defying the dollar today. And there's a number of reasons why gold's prices are still fairly bullish, largely around what China, Turkey, and other countries are doing to accumulate more of it, especially citizens of those countries. People are buying gold, and most of that buying is happening in the East. And there are some big buyers here in the West, but they're largely just a few rich people that are buying a bunch of gold for the most part. But there it is, and I've certainly scaled back my purchases of gold this year. But silver, though, does seem to be a situation where opportunity is knocking on our door. Now, I did predict that this would happen. In fact, I said be prepared in a previous video, be prepared for the great silver pullback. I believe we're sort of in the midst of that now, and that means that it could fall below $24 an ounce. I could very easily see it falling into the 23s. What does this mean? This means that there's an opportunity, especially if you're utilizing dollar cost averaging, as I've talked about time and time again on this channel. Dollar cost averaging and enhance that a bit by buying a little bit more when the price is down. That's what this purchase is today. I bought this at my local coin shop. I love these things. This is by Intaglio Mint, the same mint that produces the Salivate metal round. This is a 2-ounce copy of the Augusta St. Gaudens double eagle coin. Beautiful, and it looks amazing in silver. They do such a great job with their craftsmanship. Intaglio Mint is one of the best out there. But there is some hope for silver, and that's what I want to get to. I like to be realistic about silver. Sometimes that does mean bringing you some bad news about the metal, like its price dip today. But depending on how you interpret this, we very well could be on the cusp of a solid run up on silver's price. What does that mean? How high can it go? We really don't know, but hedge funds are starting to take an interest in silver, according to Kitco. as it could be the next major momentum play in the precious metals market. And while gold prices start to find a balance, and level out here, we could start to see that sometime soon. So be prepared for that. By the way, if you enjoy the latest news on silver and gold and other precious metals, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And press that like button down below if you find value in the content that I provide here. Now, historic speculative bullish interest in gold has pushed prices to multiple record highs in the last real practically month now, but silver has lagged significantly. And again, as I've noted, the gold to silver ratio is very close to 90-1. But the latest trade data from the Commodity Future Trading Commission, that's the CFTC, shows that silver still has solid momentum as gold's run starts to weaken. Now, I will caution you, as I mentioned before, interpreting the Commitment of Traders report is a dicey game. There's a lot of complexity in the markets, and people can, and I've talked about that even recently with some of the outflows moving towards the east with silver. And this could be the beginning of that. This is something that very well could play a major role in that. But also remember what I mentioned in my video this morning. If you have not seen the video that I posted this morning, I'm going to link to it at the end screen here, but it is about one of the things that not a lot of people are talking about. In fact, I don't know if anybody that's talked about one of the reasons why silver prices is so low. So make sure you check that video out as well. The CFTC Disaggregated Commitment of Traders report showed money managers increase their speculative gross long positions in COMEX silver futures by 7,963 contracts to 53,484 for the week ending March 19th. At the same time, short positions fell by 3,365 contracts to 16,362. So move from the short into the long. That's a bullish signal for silver. And the silver market has seen its net bullish positioning increase for 3 consecutive weeks. The market is now net long by 37,122 contracts, its highest level since April of 2022. And I've outlined this from Bob Coleman has talked about this over on Twitter. So I think it does seem to be fairly encouraging, I think, for silver in this regard, if this trend continues. So in other words, it's putting pressure on silver to where it won't fall below probably a certain number. And who knows, we may even start to see a new low. I thought we were going to see that solidify around the $24.50 mark, but it is below that, at least today. But it could snap right back up again. We just don't know. So it's fascinating. Silver has been slow to wake up, as we know, from its hibernation. And we talk about silver being money. I like to look at it as hibernating money. That's one term I've used, a phrase I've used before, but it is commodity money in reality. And really, when you think about it. So it is fascinating to see how long it's taking. But look at where we were not long ago. It was $22. Sometimes if you look at things from a 30-day period, it kind of puts things in perspective in one direction or another. So it's good to expand your lens in terms of price performance from one period to the next to get a whole spectrum of where things are. And you take that line and extend it even further. Well, silver's doing okay. It's about how you buy it and how your view of it as to and your comfortability with it is really where you have to come, and that's a very personal thing. Come to draw your own conclusions there. There's still a lot of people that comment on my videos, by the way, who are very much down on silver and frustrated on it. And I encourage those comments. Feel free to speak your mind here about silver. I want to try to address those as much as possible and encourage people on the metal as much as possible. Doing so with, at the same time, being as realistic as I can about the metal. So in an interview with Kitco, John LaForge, head of real assets at Wells Fargo, said that traditional silver is late to the party. And yeah, you can say that again. But once it finds momentum, it can easily outperform gold. Well, it just hasn't done it yet. Many people are skeptical about that, if it ever will again. And I can understand that. Investors need to see gold move first, and then they will get into silver. Well, they've seen it. It's been moving. It's been moving dramatically. It may be slow to rally, but pretty soon silver will be the asset to own, he said. And I think that's a little bit overly bullish. I think it is something that we should consider. I don't think people should abandon silver, hold on to what they've got, but make strategic buys and be cautious about it. Be conservative when you're buying silver. Because you never know. Yes, it could break out, but we've been here before. We've done that before, and people have gotten burned big time. And I've talked about that in a previous video. Some analysts have noted that silver has struggled as investor sentiment regarding the health of the global economy remained mixed. And that harkens back to the video that I posted this morning. You got to check out as to what the one reason, not a lot of people are talking about why silver went up. And a lot of it has to do with something that is a very foreign concept to us here in the West, but they're experiencing it big time in the East. Some analysts showing that it has struggled. Silver as a precious metal, roughly 50% of demand comes from industrial uses. It's probably a little bit more than that now. There are some concerns that weak industrial demand could lead to lower silver consumption. However, some analysts have noted that silver might be recession-proof as it remains a critical metal in the green industry, transitioning as a major component to the production of solar panels. Analysts have said that the green energy sector remains an attractive target for government spending if the global economy does fall into a recession. And there is some truth to that, but only some. I think some of those companies will certainly still be affected by recessions and the like. And because of that, because of some of these mandates, they may actually pull back from those mandates or not be as restrictive because people are struggling, companies are struggling. So I don't think it's going to have as big of an effect as some have made as a focus. Silver, in other words, is not and will not be recession-proof in spite of green energy demand and mandates. I think it might be recession resistance to a point, to a degree. But again, look at all of these things that have been going on that have kept the silver price low now. And I think that's the thing we got to be realistic about with the market. So there you have it. That's enough for today. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, and don't forget to check out these videos right here.